Might have been wondering what happened to all those gangster rappers that went viral dissing their dead ops in Jacksonville a few years ago. Well, they're all dead, or at least their careers are.
In Orange County, police say 2 men were shot to death and then crashed into a bus stop. Officers say that the bus stop was wrecked and the car was filled with bullet holes when they found it.
Robinson says no one really knew Adrian until he was killed.
I ain't gonna say that he don't have gang member friends, but one for sure, he's not no gang member. If anybody had any sense and they go to YouTube, they can see it says Bully Gang Music Label.
Detectives believe Harris lured one of the victims, 19-year-old Antonio Tilley Jr., who thought he was meeting her for a date. Investigators accuse Mills of killing Tilley instead, collecting half of the bounty on his head.
Glover Jr., known to friends and family as Tiger Sparks, was a rapper.
We had faith that he would have made it in the rap game.
A popular person out east.
Some of the things he said and had done had been memorialized over and over and over again. And in some way, he was held in high esteem, but he was also creating himself to be a big target too.
In a few seconds, you're going to hear a loud noise. That was gunfire from a triple shooting on the west side, which left 1 man dead and 2 men injured. Later on in the video, you see one of the men who was shot appear.
5 years ago, I did a video on Jacksonville's deadly gang war after the song Who I Smoke went viral. Young and Ace and his gang had the whole world dancing, singing, and laughing to lyrics all about smoking on Bibby, Tiki, and Lil 9. But I was one of the first people to stand up and let the world know these were real dead people, mainly children, that were being smoked and made fun of on these viral tracks.
I've heard numerous people joking in this beef that the ops lost a Fortnite battle, that they're getting kills like it's Warzone, or that somebody got wasted like it's GTA. That might sound like a funny diss in the moment, but some of these kids are really treating their lives like a video game.
People like Aiden Ross cracked jokes about it, Vanessa Colton cashed in on the sample, and Young and Ace's biggest op, Fulio, clapped back with his own disrespectful diss song, When I See You, a track that made a mockery of Fantasia's classic viral hit of the same name. But Fulio really took things further than Who I Smoke. Rather than dancing around dissing his dead ops on a golf course, he went to the graveyard and sung the high notes while waving around a printed obituary bearing the faces of 3 dead ops, all of them being Young and Ace's closest friends and brother, who died in a quadruple shooting that only Ace survived a few years before.
A family friend of Kenyatta and Trevon Bullard tells News4Jax that the 2 brothers were out with Royale Smith and Jacoby Grover Tuesday night celebrating Smith's birthday when the celebration turned to tragedy. Police say the men were all riding together in this car on Town Center Parkway when people in another car that pulled up beside them started shooting at them.
But most chilling of all, Fulio used lyrics in that song to mock 23, one of Ace's friends who was killed in front of him. Specifically, that day that he died was his birthday. And at the end of the song, Fulio taunted him, singing, "Happy birthday 23, blow your candles out, dead," all while pouring champagne onto his picture. Now, this was one of the most brutal diss songs ever made in the entire world, but unfortunately, God has a funny way of humbling people in the most ironic ways, because Fulio, who was nicknamed 6, would end up being brutally shot to death on his own birthday too, in the exact same way.
That shit crazy.
A car full of 3 of his friends, and exactly 6 years after mocking 23 for being murdered the same way.
3 others were injured in that shooting, as we said, but 26-year-old Charles Jones, was also known as Julio Fulio, was reportedly there to celebrate his birthday.
Video from the hotel and a parked Tesla show 3 shooters firing several shots at the vehicle Jones was riding in, killing him.
Fulio was so disrespectful that even when his killers were sentenced to life, the supposed
Man. I need to close this out, man.
The music video of Fulio rapping in the graveyard basically said he had it coming.
But goodness gracious, going and desecrating the gravesite of a murdered relative is, you don't deserve to be killed for that, but you just increased your odds that it was going to happen, and that's the truth.
Even a judge said it.
So I'm not at all, again, stating that he deserved it.
But the thing is, in the time between Who I Smoke and Fulio getting killed on his own birthday, a lot of people just lost interest in the Jacksonville drill scene. Fulio and Young and Ace became rich and famous, but not rich enough to have round-the-clock security protecting their lives, and too famous to hide. Not in Jacksonville, not in Houston, not anywhere in America. So while everyone stopped paying attention to the singing, dancing killers, the war in Jacksonville raged on behind the scenes as murder after murder played out one by one. And by the time that Julio was dead, so many people had been killed on both sides, the last man standing was just Young and Ace.
Young and Ace is a celebrity. He has tens of millions of followers on Spotify and YouTube.
Who was that?
His name was Kenyatta Bullard, and he goes by Young and Ace.
Young and Ace, a high-profile member of ATK.
You could see his ATK chain around his neck. Is a combination 1200 ATK video. Like Kenyatta Bullard, the person in the last two videos that was the lead rapper, who is the public face of ATK. Mr. Jones, the evidence will show, was the public face of 6 Block.
Unfortunately for him, when all your friends are dead and all your ops are dead, there's really nothing left to rap about. And now, with a RICO case likely hovering over his shoulder, it might not be long until he goes out sad too.
So Young and Ace has long been known in Jacksonville. We are consistently monitoring those groups. We have people that are always watching them. I won't speak to the chief's investigation, that's up to TPD. We don't have an investigation on him right now, but he can't move around in Jacksonville without us knowing about it.
Part of an ongoing gang retaliation between Julio's 6 Block crew and rival groups ATK and 1200.
And according to the Tampa Bay police chief, they are affiliated with the gangs ATK and 1200.
As it relates to the term ATK, what does that stand for, if anything?
Based on my training experience, it stands for Ace's Top Killers. The name Ace would be the face or the head of ATK. His rapper name is Young and Ace.
Specifically, is ATK a traditional gang or a hybrid gang?
We would consider them a hybrid street gang.
So in this video, I'm going to document all of the murders, disses, and arrests that ended Jacksonville's deadly gang war once and for all.
You know what you did. He was an innocent child. It wasn't worth it. Just turn yourself in.
You know what I'm saying? Happy birthday! Everybody got their side.
I mean, some people feel like you were behind that.
We are working to learn more about a shooting that left a Florida rapper dead and 3 others hurt in Tampa.
People feel like I'm behind a lot, but I'm not. I'm not behind.
Prominent rapper Charles Jones, whose stage name is Julio, was celebrating his birthday here in Tampa when it was cut short by gunfire.
You've experienced a lot of death. Like, I mean, I know you guys didn't get along like that, but it's like...
We were best friends.
Trigger warning, this video contains themes of murder, death, and gang activity. Before I show you the video, I need to tell you something so YouTube doesn't cause any problems. I categorically condemn the actions of the killers in this video. This video is made for educational, documentary, scientific, and artistic purposes. It is EDSA content. More specifically, it's authoritative reporting on a true crime case from a journalistic context. I'm doing this to inform and protect the public and raise awareness of the real-life consequences of gang membership and drill music. This video includes no content that violates the advertiser or community guidelines on YouTube, and the purpose of this video is to add context and condemnation to a story in the public interest. I'll be reporting basic factual information that I have personally observed while doing months of secondary research as a professional journalist. While this video contains multiple points of view, including defense attorneys' arguments, I wholeheartedly condemn the killers referenced in this video and their actions, as well as the actions of anyone who committed a crime that's included in this video. I'm obliged by YouTube's rules to tell you that you should not imitate the actions of any of the people in this video. This statement represents a clear and informative discouragement against imitating dangerous or harmful behavior. This video does not include any illegal material, instructions on how to carry out a crime, any footage of a criminal or victim while a crime is being committed, and this video categorically does not intend to glorify the crimes or criminals being discussed. If you like my work and want to support, you can watch all of my biggest breakdowns early, extended, and uncut on patreon.com/TraplawRoss for just $5 a month. Thank you, and now to the video. In In Jacksonville, like many other cities, it's hard to point to one single moment and say that that was the exact beginning of the gang war in that city. In my last 2-hour deep dive, Jacksonville's Deadly Gang War, we touched on a deadly home invasion and murder that put Young and Ace and Fulio's family against each other for life. But in the years since that video dropped, even more history has unraveled on social media, and as we've begun to learn, the ancestral beefs in Jacksonville that have been handed down from generation to generation. Because before the public ever knew the names Julio Fulio and Young and Ace, and the gangs ATK, NHG, 1200 on one side, and on the other, KTA and 6 Block, in reality, Jacksonville had already been dealing with decades of gang violence. Back in the early 2000s, Florida's 1977 RICO Act was being deployed to dismantle highly structured syndicates such as the Mafia and the Hells Angels. Historically, this RICO Act had been reserved only for massive, sophisticated conspiracies. For example, the act brought down the infamous Miami River cops, who used their badges to steal thousands of pounds of drugs.
A group of more than a dozen police officers raided this Miami River boatyard in the summer of 1985 with the help of some of their drug dealer friends. Most were in uniform, some were even on duty when they climbed the fence to steal 400 kilos of cocaine, almost 900 pounds.
Eventually, prosecutors even used RICO to dismantle the Nation of Yahweh, which was a Miami religious cult whose enforcers committed gruesome machete murders. However, quite similar to the fragmented street gangs of Chicago, the Jacksonville gangs that police were targeting in the 2000s looked less like criminal organizations and more like local neighborhood crews. By updating the law in 2008, state leaders made it possible to punish neighborhood gangs just as harshly as traditional mob families. By the next year, in May 2009, authorities launched Operation 103rd Street against a West Side crew known as the Certified Headbusters. Following that bust, the Certified Headbusters as a gang would fade away. However, the area of 103rd and Melvin became tied to Young and Ace's early circle, with the area going by the name Momo World and the crew that ran things there calling themselves Young and Gang, and eventually adopting the name ATK. So now you know why it's called Young and Ace. Now, on the north side, officers spent 18 months investigating the 45th Street gang before arresting them in November 2009 for selling drugs and terrorizing their neighborhood. Even though the police believed the 45th Street gang had been involved in murders and assaults, investigators hadn't actually been able to prove those cases at the time. By the early to mid 2010s, their territory was connected to a gang turned record label called PCE, short for Problem Child Entertainment. As older PCE members got locked up or killed, the younger generation started using more specific names tied to their blocks and apartment complexes, specifically the Hilltop Village Apartments and the surrounding area, which became known as the 6 Block. And it's here that Fulio, aka 6, hails from, while the area around Avenue B was also called A Block. Although Ave B and 6 Block were separate groups, their neighborhoods were located close together and their members had been closely aligned for years. From there, newer sets would spark up like WAWG, short for We All We Got, and Bully Gang, names of cliques that became tied to the younger generations from that same area. On October the 5th, 2014, between 25 and 30 people had gathered at a house on Linda Drive on Jacksonville's north side for a cookout and to shoot a music video. According to later released paperwork, in attendance was a man called Gino Norris Sr., aka Big Gino. In later recordings that featured Fulio and other 6 Block members, they would refer to Big Gino as their OG.
Who it is, man? Be my OG, man. I love my OG, man. You disrespect no man.
And more importantly, Big Gino was the father of Gino Norris Jr., Julio Fulio's little cousin, who just so happened to be in the vehicle alongside Julio Fulio in the 2024 ambush that resulted in Fulio's death.
Fulio laid up. I thought it was a car until I looked up, saw the bullet holes, and I saw Zay covered in blood yelling.
Another person who was there back in 2014 was Kojak, a fellow 6 Block rapper described by some online circles as Fulio's right-hand man. Anyways, close to 8 PM, officers were dispatched to the scene after gunfire left 3 people dead and 2 women injured.
First it was just a single pop, pop, and then boom, 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 boom. Like, oh my God.
That nigga tongue is going through the bottom of his teeth.
So it was intense.
Cedric Hernan could hear the gunshots over the phone as he was talking to his wife.
She says, they're having a shootout. So I tell her, get in the house.
It happened after the sunset yesterday evening. Neighbors say scores of gunshots shattered the silence, leaving 3 men dead and 2 women injured, 1 with gunshot wounds. Ever since, yard after yard of red and white police tape have decorated this north side area.
At the time, police didn't publicly describe the shooting as part of a gang war. However, investigators believe that the shooting was a targeted drive-by and the people who were fired upon may have shot back in self-defense.
People around here, they're saying that that this wasn't a random act.
News for Jack's crime analyst Gil Smith evaluated the scene with us. His sources say 2 of the men who were shot came to the house heavily armed and started the violence while friends held a get-together.
They believe that people who came here, who started the shooting, knew these people. They had some type of confrontation with them in the past, and they came back here. That's what they believe. That hasn't been confirmed, but that's what they believe. So it shouldn't be too difficult for police to solve this.
So this might be a case of self-defense here.
It's a possibility.
As more details came out, the suspected shooters that slid on the cookout were identified as Prosper and Tay from 1200. Authorities would later find out from another member of 1200 named Big Michi that Prosper and Tay were looking to shoot someone at the house on Linda Drive. According to online rumors, that individual that they were looking for was known as Fat Shard from HFE, also known as Head First Entertainment. Head First Entertainment was a rap label and street crew from Jacksonville's northwest side, mainly around Grand Park. At the time, HFE allegedly had beef with 45th Street and PCE, but some older figures were still cool with certain HFE members. In later videos, even Julio Fulio himself would explain how in 2014 HFE were the real ops and how they stayed stepping on them.
We always, like, back in, like, 2014, we used to always fight. I'm talking about the real ops, like, I'm talking about these ops. Everybody from Jacksonville know what this is right here. I'm talking about, we used to stay beating, like, I'm talking about terrorizing them.
Even one of 6 Block and AvB's top shooters, Trey D, would also diss several of HFE's dead members.
Big baby, J5. Hey. Bendo, look, we've been smoking them since last summer.
But at that time, 1200 had also been locked in a war with HFE, and Prosper and Tay had allegedly got word that Fat Shard was at the party. Now we would get more information on the shooting from Gino Norris Sr. himself, who met with detectives in his attorney's office with both of his attorneys present. After being advised of his rights, Big Gino said that he arrived at the party around 3 p.m. to cook. He said that a cameraman was present for a video or photo shoot, but he didn't know the cameraman's name. Big Gino said that he was at the grill talking to his uncle, Eddie Norris, before he went inside the house. He said about 2 to 3 minutes later, Big Gino said that he heard gunfire, running outside and grabbing an AK-47 that was sitting on the porch. According to Gino, that AK-47 had been brought to the house for the video shoot, and once outside, Gino said that he saw a white Pontiac G6 and 2 people shooting. Kojak would tell detectives that he was sitting on the couch in the living room when Big Gino walked out the door. A few moments later, gunshots erupted and he started to hide when he heard somebody yell Bobby was hit. Tragically, Bobby Norris, who was in the house at the time of the shooting, would get hit by the bullet and pass away. Big Gino told investigators that he first shot the gunman holding an AK-47, then turned and shot the second gunman who had a pistol, and he was shot twice in the side as he came out the front door. After the shooting, Big Gino said he dropped his gun near the bushes and ran from the house, apparently buying a bicycle for $20 and riding away from the scene. In his version, he only saw 2 shooters and described his own actions as being done out of fear for his life, and ultimately no charges would be filed against Big Gino or the other suspected shooters. However, the death of Prosper would inspire his mother to turn her grief into action, finding a new purpose in warning others on the danger of gun violence, admitting that her son was actually no angel.
Back in October of 2014, a Jacksonville mother's teenage son was killed in street violence. Tanya Love told us he wasn't an angel, but he was a 17-year-old with dreams. Instead of being consumed by her grief, Love has turned her pain into
Man,
purpose.
these niggas young,
she
bro.
wants to save other
Shit.
children from the violence that permeates their urban neighborhoods.
Prosper and Tay were well-respected members of 1200, and Prosper was close to members like rappers Whopper With the Chopper and Spinner Benz, who were later famously part of the viral diss song Who I Smoke. Rappers from 1200 like Lil Popper memorialized Prosper and Tay in their music, with Lil Popper rapping about being in them hallways back in school with them. Almost a decade later, Prosper's name came up again during the sentencing of Fulio's killers, when it was revealed that one of the shooters connected to the case was a 1200 member from the 187 clique who had named his own son Prosper in honor of his fallen friend.
Please let him carry on as daddy to Major, to Avery, to Prosper and Gabrielle.
On the other side, Julio Fulio eventually started dissing both dead 1200 members, rapping on his diabolically disrespectful song List of Dead Ops that he was smoking on Prosper and Tay, and them F-N-words died on the same day. On his track Dead Ops Part 2, he would rap Prosper got shot, Tay got shot, Rallo face hot, Greenlight felt that Glock, Corbin got kidnapped, they found his bones, he was rotten. This that Part 2, I'm Lil 6, I'm top op. That is one of the most disrespectful songs ever. But at the time, court records didn't trace the 6 Block and 1200 feud back to the 2014 Linda Drive shooting. Instead, the cops who were one step behind would point to a different incident that happened in the fall of 2015, when a courtroom would hear how a conflict between the older generation of 6 Block, Problem Child Entertainment aka PCE, and 187, a 1200 linked clique, had taken the gang war to a whole new level. According to court records that overlooked that 2014 cookout shooting, PCE and 187 had still been somewhat friendly until the fall of 2015, when Breon Mason, known as D Rose from 187, stole some firearms from Henry Hayes IV, a PCE member known on the streets as Crackerjack. Soon after, on November the 14th, 2015, members of PCE and 187 got into a fight, apparently over a handshake at a Kodak Black concert, and it was there that Avery McKnight, better known as Suge, aka Bink from 187, was involved in an altercation. According to many later lyrics from Foolio, Suge was killed over his bike. It was December 3rd, 2015, on Odessa Street when Suge was ultimately shot and killed. Then, at the end of the month, on Christmas Day, several 187 members were gathered near Odessa Street for Suge's memorial when they begun taunting PCE members online and daring them to pull up. And within minutes, unknown shooters did pull up, driving by and opening fire, injuring several people, including a child. From there, the violence kept on going back and forth. On January the 6th, 2016, several 187 members carried out a drive-by, shooting at Crackerjack's sister's house, where Rondo, Crackerjack, and JB were present. At the time, Rondo was described in court as a former 187 member and PCE associate, while Crackerjack and JB were identified as PCE members. Then, on January the 16th, 2016, another drive-by happened at Killer Cam's house, apparently a 187 hangout. Killer Cam identified Crackerjack as the driver and JB as the shooter, and at the same time, the feud was being played out through rap videos, photos, and social media posts, with the court saying that both sides were documenting their gang conflict online. One PCE video titled T on Top of T was described in court as a response to a 187 video that threatened a retaliation for Suge's murder. The song itself still survives today, but the music video is no longer online, but it includes Foolio and Crackerjack dissing their dead and injured ops back to back. By January the 24th, 2016, Tico from PCE would shoot at D Rose, the same 187 member whose firearm theft had escalated the feud months earlier. On the subreddit that tracks the gang wars in Jacksonville, r/Duval County, users later connected that same Tico and D Rose shooting to evidence shown during another trial for a murdered child named Aiden McClendon. On January the 28th, 2016, the white Toyota Corolla later used in the shooting was carjacked, and court records said that Rondo had admitted that he was involved in stealing it. According to the court opinion, Rondo testified that he provided the stolen cars and stolen guns to PCE members, and that JB took the Corolla shortly before the shooting. The next evening, on January the 29th, 2016, Tamisha Brown drove to her grandmother's home on Spearing Street with her 22-month-old son, Aiden McClendon, sitting in the back seat. As she pulled up, Ducci, better known as Jacksonville rapper Whopper Wit the Chopper, was outside the house with other 187 associates. Soon after, a white Corolla would pull in behind them, and the people inside opened fire. And tragically, 22-month-old Aiden would be shot 3 times while sitting in that car, and News4Jax reported that he received a fatal gunshot wound to his back.
Remembering the youngest of Jacksonville's recent murder victims.
22-month-old Aiden McClendon was killed last Friday night in a hail of bullets in what police say was a gang-related drive-by shooting.
Man, you know, that right there be where it's like, damn, innocent, didn't have a chance at life, didn't get to, you know, get his first car, his first girlfriend, graduate, nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, he, you know what he that shit right there, this is what fucked me up right here, man, is how the babies get caught up in this shit, you know, and it's like, fuck, man, you know, that we doing this shit to each other, homie. Like, you know, when will niggas wake up, bro? Like, nigga, we are worst enemies, my nigga.
The gunfire just missed his mother and grandmother, who were with him in a parked car.
Ah, damn.
What we need to do is keep in mind that God needed another angel to help him pour out the rain.
There were clouds in the sky, but balloons released to heaven symbolize a small ray of sunshine. That sunshine is Aiden McClendon.
He lit up with anybody that he met. Just his laughter, his smile, his demeanor in itself.
Some of the children at the school wore angel wings with the letter A in Aiden's memory. As the kids played outside, parents and teachers couldn't help but watch, wishing he was there with them.
We know that we will never see him ever again, but he always holds a special place in our heart.
With justice in their hearts, Aiden's family and teachers have this message to the person responsible. Valerie Wilson addressed that person head on.
You know what you did. He was an innocent child. It wasn't worth it. Just turn yourself in. That's all I ask.
Public reporting identified Wapawit Chopper as the target of the shooting, as he was Aiden's cousin. A day after that shooting, a witness identified Henry Hayes IV, also known as Crackerjack from PCE, as one of the shooters. A few days later, police pulled Crackerjack over while he was driving his father's car and found a 9mm gun inside. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement later matched that gun to the weapon used to kill 22-month-old Aiden McClendon. By March 2016, Crackerjack had been arrested and charged with murder, attempted murder, and other gun charges. Kwame Richardson, aka JB, was later charged as the second defendant in the case, and the family of Aiden would gracefully forgive the killers of their child before the trial had even started, even though they said that the murder had ruined their lives.
With the announcement of the arrest of 16-year-old Henry Hayes IV for the murder of little Aiden McClendon, Aiden's family says they forgive him, but feel he should still be punished. D'Angela Wilson has also been arrested on accessory to murder charges.
We've already forgiven whoever, did it. We forgive them because, we can't go around and just be hating them, as much as we want to hate them. I wasn't raised like that.
Shit, it'd be fuck them niggas till I die.
In 2018, both shooters were convicted of first-degree murder as criminal gang members, 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder as criminal gang members, and discharging a firearm from a vehicle. And soon after, both will be sentenced to life in prison, with the local news and community rejoicing that such a brutal slaying of a child hadn't gone unpunished.
About an hour ago, 2 guilty verdicts were read, one for Henry Hayes and one for Kwame Richardson, who were tried separately.
The verdict was read first for Kwame Richardson, and that was something that really left him upset. He hung his head, in fact, when that verdict was read. Then the clerk announced the verdict for Henry Hayes. He was also found guilty on all counts. He had very little emotion, though. Aiden McClendon.
How can you sit in there like that? I don't get that. You sitting in there like that, little baby done lost his life, and you sitting in there with no remorse, and you expect them white folks to give you some type of remorse. Man, they looking to put your ass away. If they could have gave you the death penalty, they would have.
McClendon's family has said they want justice. Meanwhile, both defendants' family spoke up arguing their innocence as well. We even heard from Kwame Richardson, who apologized for the family's loss and asked to take a lie detector test, which was denied by the judge. Emotions ran high as both the prosecutors and defense called loved ones to the stand.
Will you please state your name for the record?
We heard emotional statements from Aiden McClendon's mother and grandmothers. Aiden McClendon's mother said there's no justification for what happened to her son.
In my heart, I feel like a piece of me died, right? I feel like a piece of me died with Aiden. My baby was only 22 months, and he did deserve to have his life taken away from him. Now, all I have are the thoughts of all of the great things he could have done with his life.
For Jacksonville, 22-month-old Aiden's death became one of the clearest examples of how the city's gang violence was already spilling far outside the people directly involved. But sadly, rather than end, this senseless murder was really just the very beginning of more than a decade of spiraling gang violence that would ultimately go on to claim countless more lives in the Jacksonville community. It would be 2017 when the most famous members of Jacksonville's music scene, Foolio and Young and Ace, would come head-to-head in the local gang war. In the early morning hours of the 27th of May 2017, around 1:30 a.m., a brick was thrown through a sliding glass door of a house located in North Rawhide Trail on the west side of Jacksonville. Inside the house, a 16-year-old girl woke up to the loud crash before waking up her 18-year-old big brother Zion Brown, a blood cousin and close friend of Foolio, with Zion also being an aspiring rapper who made music under the artist name TJ or Tweakin' Jit. And like Foolio, Zion was also an alleged member of the 6 Block gang, while also repping a clique called TDB or Team Dre Block, named after yet another dead friend of theirs, sometimes even rapping under the artist name TDB TJ. As a later police report showed, that night Zion was the only adult in the house, while the ages of the other occupants in the house ranged from 17 to 5 years old. According to Zion's 16-year-old sister, following the sudden commotion, everyone gathered in the living room and attempted to call 911, but at that moment she turned around to see a man wearing a red hoodie, blue jeans, and a mask standing there with a gun in his hand and immediately opening fire. In the chaos, 3 people would be hit, including the sister, her 9-year-old cousin, and Zion, who was hit the worst and would later pass away from his injuries. During interviews with the police, the sister told investigators that she recognized the shooter through Facebook as a man who went by the name Trey Shorty, and Trey, a 19-year-old, real name DeAndre Thomas, would be arrested and charged with the shooting just a few days later.
Police make an arrest in a shooting that killed an 18-year-old
and injured a teenager and a 9-year-old girl. This happened on the west side at this house on Saturday. The teenager tells News4Jax that her family was woken up about 1:30 in the morning Saturday when a brick came crashing through a sliding glass door in the back of their house.
18-year-old Zion Brown was the only adult in the home, along with 2 teens, a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old boy. Today, police said DeAndre Thomas was the shooter. They charged him with murder.
Police say it was in this home where 18-year-old Zion Brown was shot by 19-year-old DeAndre Thomas. JSO says that they now have found their shooter. The deadly incident happened early Saturday morning. According to witnesses, Thomas broke out a sliding glass door, walked inside, and began shooting, hitting a 9-year-old and a teenager. They are recovering. 18-year-old Zion Brown died at the hospital. An arrest has been made. The motive still very unclear, and Zion Brown's family saying they're afraid for their lives. And I want to show you here in the backyard that First Coast Crime Stoppers sign, hoping to make an arrest, which has happened, and some of that police crime tape. But the family has since moved out. Investigators believe Thomas was not alone.
Yeah, I ain't staying there.
He shot
Shit.
Brown and 2 children.
Now, the interesting thing about this murder was not only that the victim Zion was Fulio's cousin and close friend, but that Trey was also a very good friend of youngin' Ace, and the rumor has always been that Ace was with Trey when the shooting took place. But some people actually believe that Ace himself may well have been the actual shooter. This rumor being strengthened by several facts that have circulated online since my last video came out, including one comment that one of the younger kids who was inside the house at the time of the shooting made to the local news, saying that he saw another man wearing a black jacket and jeans in the kitchen. Trey himself would also post later that very same day a picture of himself with Ace to his Instagram, together with a caption about his love for drug money and chains, before adding numerous emojis, including a skull and the so-called speak no evil emoji. This made it seem like these two had definitely done something together that shouldn't be spoken about. Now, youngin' Ace himself also has some interesting lyrics in his songs that appear to imply that someone else is doing time for a crime that he did, including a track titled Raw Poetry, where he raps out he was the one who was stepping or doing hits, but they gave someone else the time. And Ace also wouldn't shy away from dissing the dead victim in the case, Zion, including on the mega hit Who I Smoke, where one of the ops that he said he's smoking is Zion, or Jit, a reference to his artist name Tweaking Jit. Moreover, following the second shooting of Zion's sister, her mother would lash out on social media, accusing an ATK member called Scotty for having been the actual person to shoot her daughter, while claiming that youngin' Ace was the one who paid for the hit. There's also been rumors that the entire home invasion of Zion traces back to Ace and Trey robbing together a rapper called Tony Cho, an alleged member of a gang called YNR. After that, Tony would allegedly shoot Trey back as revenge later on, with Ace and Trey then supposedly going to Zion's house that night in the hopes that they would find Cho there. At the same time as these events were unfolding, youngin' Ace, real name Kenyatta Bullard, and Trey Shorty, real name DeAndre Thomas, would be running into separate legal problems in the neighboring Clay County, where law enforcement had connected them to another shooting back in December 2016. And this investigation would eventually lead to a videotaped interrogation that the YouTube channel Crime Circus would post online years later. During this interrogation, a detective would bring up the murder of Zion Brown and warn youngin' Ace that the gang PCE, aka Problem Child Entertainment, another name for Fulio's 6-block gang, was essentially one of the most dangerous gangs in Jacksonville, and they were now coming for Ace and his crew.
You know what's better than that? A piece of 4-inch glass. When she comes and visits you, she's gonna be able to sit in a chair and look at you through glass. No more hugs, no more of that. But you know what? At least your mama gets to look at it through glass and not have to look at your gravestone. Because you're playing with fire. The PCE is the most violent, most heavily armed gang in Jacksonville right now. Do you think them people are going to stop? We're here today at an expedited rate because me and my bosses were nervous that they were actually coming. I got a question. No. Blood for blood, right? That's one of the laws of the street. Blood for blood. You really think? Do you really think PCE wants us to arrest DeAndre Thomas? Do you think they wanted us to arrest him for the murder of Zion Brown? Do you think that's what they wanted us to do? Hell no. They wanted his right there on the street so they could take care of him themselves. Whatever y'all did to them, and Zion came down, because you know as well as I did, y'all know who shot your boy.
2 years later, in late 2019, Trey Shorty would finally be set to stand trial for the murder of Zion. But just months before, in May 2019, Zion's sister would be the victim of another shooting when someone ambushed her while she was sitting in a car outside her home with several friends. She would be struck 14 times and be left fighting for her life. But once again, fortunately, she survived, undergoing multiple surgeries before fully recovering from the attack. The real identity of this shooter was never uncovered, although she would first identify the suspect as Caleb Sheffield, also known in the streets of Jacksonville as ATK YBZ, not to be confused with another YBZ we'll discuss later in this video. However, as Trey Shorty's defense would later point out, YBZ had a bulletproof alibi, as he wasn't even in Jacksonville at the time of the incident. However, Trey himself was found to have had a tablet in jail that he allegedly used to organize the sister's shooting in order to prevent her from testifying in his trial. But that didn't work, and Trey was eventually found guilty and given a full life sentence for the murder of Zion and other related offenses. But as we know, despite justice being done in the courtroom, street justice wasn't far behind, and from here, the members on Fulio's side of the war vowed to kill Young and Ace. One failed attempt would be an incident where his mother's house got shot up, something that he discussed in a documentary where he said they shot up his house, but his gang doubled back.
This used to be my room right here. Them boys shot my house up. I was right there on the bed, me and my little brother Quan. They shot my house up from right here. This is my mama's right here. They shot my mama's house up. They shot this part right here. My mama was in the room. They shot that bitch up. My house always got shot up. They always spent on my shit. But then we doubling back though, for real. Come here though.
However, unfortunately, the next attempt on Ace's life would be much more effective. And while Ace fortunately survived, sadly, 3 of his closest people would end up being killed right in front of him in what would go down as one of the worst acts of violence Jacksonville had ever seen.
Yeah.
The brutal home invasion and murder of Zion Brown meant that his cousin Fulio and the 6 block-affiliated gang members would be spinning in the streets non-stop trying to get revenge. And with the official shooter, Trey Shorty, in custody, and rumors circulating that Young and Ace was actually the real killer, it was only a matter of time before they caught Ace lacking in the worst way. And on June the 5th, 2018, Young and Ace's side would be hit in one of the most deadly shootings Jacksonville had ever seen. That night, Young and Ace was with Royale Smith Jr., better known as 23, as well as Jacoby Groover, also known as 4 Times or Kobe, and Ace's younger brother, Trayvon Bullard, better known as 2 Times or Quan. Ace's brother Quan had graduated from Ridgeview High School just about a week earlier, while 23 was celebrating his own birthday that was that day. According to Ace, despite the danger around him, he wanted to take his brothers out and celebrate with them.
My little brother's birthday was my best friend. His name 23. On his birthday, I'm like, little brother, let's go do some shit. Cause our life's so up. It's like you live or you die. You know what I'm saying? My brother, my real brother, he had just graduated like 2 weeks before that. I'm like, let's go out to eat, little bro. Let's go, you know what I'm saying, go eat some shit. Like, we have emotion, we straight, like, you feel me?
Ace would document himself and the group in Instagram stories on the way to the Wasabi Japanese steakhouse, posting clips of their arrival in the parking lot where the group was in good spirits. Then, inside the restaurant, videos would be posted that showed the group singing a happy birthday to 23. In a later interview, Ace revealed that 23's mother and sister also attended the dinner, and afterwards, he, 23, Quan, and Kobe stayed out in the parking lot caught up in the moment.
We didn't really want to go because we don't do this type of stuff. Like going out to eat, cause bro, we in the streets. Anything can happen. Feel me?
Yeah.
So we go, boom, bop. We went in there, we ate. Cheers, got his mom and his sister them in there. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know what I'm saying, our homeboy, they done pulled up. We chilling. After that, we chilling in the parking lot, laughing, playing, play fighting and shit. Just like, we slipping for real. We ain't even on point cause we so caught up in the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Photos later circulated of the alleged last moments of 23 Quan.
That's that moment where a nigga was just trying to live, bro. Just trying to live, you know what I'm saying? Get that life, the life that they really wanted. Like, damn, you know, it's peaceful. We ain't got to worry about niggas fucking with us. At the same time, he like, damn, I'm off my pivot, though. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't thinking like that right now. So it's like, you know, they all, you know, it's just that they in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's fucked up, dog. This shit is crazy, man.
Quan and Kobe with Ace, with one particularly haunting image of Kobe being taken a couple of hours or even moments before their deaths. Because right after this, Ace, 23, Kobe, and Quan got into their vehicle and started driving towards Town Center Parkway near Interstate 295. According to Ace, shortly after the car stopped at a red light, he would reach for his phone to call his girlfriend, but before he could, a bullet hit his hand and knocked the phone away.
In the car, it feel like probably like 25 seconds, 30 seconds. Pull up to a light. I'm finna call my girlfriend cause we arguing about the car cause we my big brother car.
Why y'all arguing about the car?
Cause they want to go see some girls. But I'm calling my girlfriend cause like I'm finna get in the car with my girlfriend. Feel me? Cause my girlfriend was eating right across the street from me. Feel me? So I'm calling him. I'm about to call her. Soon as I pull my phone out, I get shot in my hand. See my whole hand. See all this is off. It grew back. You know what I'm saying?
At this point, another vehicle was beside them, and someone inside was firing round after round into their Chevrolet Cruze. Although later rumors claimed that 23 might have been armed and may have even fired back, the public police incident report doesn't actually confirm that detail. But during the shooting, Ace was apparently in the passenger seat and attempted to reach across the car to protect 23 from the bullet fire.
They just got the blowing and like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but my mind's so fast, bro. It's quick. So I get the shit with my little brother 23. See, it's his birthday, so I'm shitting him, trying to get him out of the car though. I'm pressing like the door, cause the door's locked. So I'm trying to press the unlock button, but they still shooting. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still getting hit and everything.
Then Ace managed to get the door open, and as he and 23 fell out the car, they realized that everyone was seriously injured and could barely move. After that, Ace crawled onto the ground and looked back, seeing the condition of the car and realizing that everyone in the vehicle had been hit.
Both, I'm pushing him, he pulling me, same thing going out the car. But he can't really move for real, like, you know what I'm saying? His body's so locked, like, you know what I'm saying? So I get like crawling a little piece, and I turn back around. I just see the whole car just like up. This was just quick, like quicker than I'm saying.
Ace later said that he could hear Quan struggling to breathe while 23 was on the ground, reaching toward him and calling out for Ace.
I'm getting shot. When I'm coming out the car, I can hear him like type shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hearing that shit. So it's like, I really ain't trying to look at him because like, you feel me? But like, I see him. I see they f***ed up in that bitch, you know what I'm saying? My little brother 23, my best friend, he really on the ground, like calling for me, like, it's a picture, somebody take a picture, it's a real picture.
6 years after the shooting, a gruesome photo would surface of the scene, showing 23 on the ground while Ace lay wounded farther down the road with his head turned towards 23. According to reports, Ace would be shot 8 times, and while he was bleeding out on the pavement, he managed to call his girlfriend, who arrived on the scene before the ambulance.
I ended up calling my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, yo, tell her what happened. She pull up. See, you gotta think about it, my girlfriend, she watching all this. She beat the ambulance. And there's people who here. There's people, there's other cars here. Nobody really called the ambulance till my girlfriend got there.
Damn.
They all just standing around taking pictures. I see my girlfriend, she run around going to everybody like, she wrapping me up. I'm telling my girlfriend straight up looking in her eyes, I'm finna die. You know what I'm saying? She like, shut up, you ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Ace survived this, but Quan, 23, and Kobe were all killed in the shooting. And a harrowing news report on the murder would later become infamous in Jacksonville after it was sampled by Fulio on his song When I See You.
Police say the shooter followed the 3, along with a 4th survivor, from a restaurant at the St. John's Town Center to the Town Center Parkway, then opened fire. Sheriff Mike Williams says this shooting is gang-related, not an accident.
Not a random act of violence, obviously. And again, it's about, you know, encouraging young people to do the right thing and make sure you're engaged with the right people and you're hanging around the right people. And it's a tragedy, you know, but one that could have been avoided.
A family friend of Kenyatta and Trevon Bullard tells News4Jax that the two brothers were out with Royale Smith and Jacoby Grover Tuesday night celebrating Smith's birthday when the celebration turned to tragedy. Police say the men were all riding together in this car on Town Center Parkway when people in another car that pulled up beside them started shooting at them. Kenyatta Bullard, who goes by the nickname Ace, was the only person in the car who survived the attack. A family friend says Kenyatta Bullard is an aspiring rap artist. His younger brother, Trevon, goes by the name Quan. He had just graduated from Ridgeview High School last week. Kashawn Price graduated with him. He says he learned about Trevon's death through social media.
Another heartbreaking moment would show 23's son visiting his gravesite in 2022, which became one of the saddest pieces of footage tied to the aftermath of this incident.
Where's my daddy?
Yeah, what's your daddy?
Ah, man, that's fucked up.
Yep. I can't walk up there. I can't walk. I'm still not open. I can't see him.
Man.
Talking. I'm not talking, Mommy.
You gotta talk to him.
Daddy, are there? Daddy! Daddy!
Initial speculation focused on who might have been inside that vehicle that opened fire on Ace and his people. 5 years ago, when I made my last video on the Jacksonville gang war, there weren't many solid theories on specifically who was responsible, but in the years that have followed, me and my team have dug deeper and uncovered a number of theories that are backed up with evidence. Over time, the names most often repeated as the shooters in this incident were P Money, Pooh 50K, and Trey D, aka 8, all names tied to Fulio's 6 Block gang. Just one day after the shooting, Trey D appeared to like a post from the ops side dissing Zion, their fellow 6 Block member and Fulio's cousin who had been killed the previous year in the home invasion that Ace was allegedly involved in. Some people saw him liking this post as trolling after allegedly getting back and retaliating against Ace for what was done to Zion. Another alleged video believed to be from the same day featured Trey D rapping along to a song by NBA OG3 called Burn Notice, specifically lyrics that reference LeBron James, who wears the jersey number 23, and free throwing someone with that steal, which was seen as a potential reference to 23, who died on the day of the Young and Ace shooting. Additionally, court documents revealed that ATK believed that 6 Block members were indeed the ones responsible for this quadruple shooting, with P Money from AVB specifically being named. Another person hurt by the loss of 4 times was one of Ace's top killers, Queso, who would be seen with Ace at 4 times' grave. Queso would also be one of the people suiting up and sliding in the streets, killing people to avenge 4 times and Ace's other dead friends and family. A few years later, after Queso was arrested for the murder of a 16-year-old 6 Block member named Bibby, P Money's name came up again through Queso's co-defendant Butter. When Butter admitted that he and other members of ATK and NHG allegedly tried to retaliate against P Money, however the shooting missed P Money and ended up killing an innocent cyclist instead. Butter later told authorities that he specifically wanted to kill P Money because of what he had done to Young and Ace and his people. Another name repeatedly brought up in connection with the June 2018 quadruple shooting was Pooh 50K, an AVB and 6 Block figure. One post allegedly made 4 days after the shooting showed Pooh 50K holding 2 large stacks of cash with a caption that read, "I'll have them dudes looking for you like an Easter egg." Because of that post, some people speculated that he was actually showing off bounty money paid to him for doing the Ace hit. In the years after the shooting, Pooh 50K would make several posts taunting Young and Ace, including one where he allegedly called himself the reincarnation of 23. He also responded to Young and Ace's Twitter posts with a trolling reply, "Long live 2 times." Another time when a depressed Ace would post that he didn't know how much longer he could hang on, Pooh replied, "Hit the line, gangster," as if he was offering to kill him before he did it to himself. After being dissed by ATK, Pooh 50K would also publicly brag that he was the one who made ATK famous and known to the world. Out of those 3 names, Trey D would be the first person tied to the shooting who ended up dead, but before his death, another incident with ATK's allies 1200 provided another motive for his murder. A couple weeks before Trey D was killed, Fulio and Lil Poppa crossed paths at the Orange Park Mall. At the time, Lil Poppa had been making a name for himself as a 1200 and cut circle rapper who had started building a name for himself locally through pain-driven songs and street storytelling. And in 2018, he was becoming one of the main young voices from 1200. In a clip, Lil Poppa was seen at the mall wearing red, while Fulio's side attempted to jump him. In another Instagram live, Fulio said that they spotted Lil Poppa at Foot Locker and confronted him over sneak dissing. According to Fulio, the fight escalated after someone from Poppa's side mentioned Kendra Alston, a beloved member of 6 Block who had actually been killed by the police in 2015 when officers claimed that he was armed.
Poppa them walking like straight down the shit, coming, I think they finna walk into either the women's Foot Locker or some shit, but the men's Foot Locker, the last one. Kojak see them first. So boom. I walk out that bit, I ain't wearing no shoes. I walk out that bit. I look, I'm like, man, that's a Poppa, so they get a little closer, like, so we like this close, like I could touch him like this close. He was the priest in a female, I ain't gonna say her name. Who was the female? So boom. First thing Kojak say, but what that shit be about? Poppa, get what Poppa scary dude. He pointing at me, he talking some, bro, be Fulio, bro, he be talking crazy, bro. I straight say, man, stop playing. You know what the fuck going on. Y'all know dead. I said, y'all know dead. Y'all know been dead. Y'all know dead. That's why I said it just like that. Go to the free say. Kendra been dead. Oh, man, that was the wrong thing to say out of the mouth. Beat his ass. Off real. Poppa now we fighting now. But I swear to God.
Fulio later spoke about the fallout in a Say Cheese interview, saying that he and Poppa had songs together before things changed.
We got songs too. We got songs out on YouTube and shit. But we just got in the we fought. I beat his ass type shit. I had beat his ass and shit in the mall and shit. Me and my little cousin Kojak beat his ass in the mall and shit. That just was that. That shit on, you know what I'm saying? That just was that.
Following this incident, the animosity grew between the two rappers. Foolio later dissed Popper on his track Double That, claiming that they beat him up, made him a victim, and pushed him closer to Young and Ace, and warned that Ace would now die with him too. But about 6 weeks after the town center shooting that targeted Ace, and weeks after the mole fight, on July 21st, 2018, Trey D and several other 6 Block members attended the annual Eastside Reunion, known locally as the Out East Reunion, a neighborhood block party style event within 1200 territory attended by over 1,000 people. Video from that evening showed all 6 Block and AVB affiliated members including Mitch, Kenny Caps, Bibby, and Trey D all together at that reunion. Another video from that same night showed 2 people linked to the Young and Ace shooting, Trey D and P Money, together saying that they would be out partying all night long, while surprisingly 1200's Whopper with the Chopper could apparently also be heard in the background of this clip.
Put up to the guy long. Your shit wrong now, you can put it right up. Thank you. Man, we got all night, man.
Sadly, that night would take a tragic turn as officers would respond to a shooting call at A. Phillip Randolph Heritage Park shortly before 10 p.m. When the officers arrived, they found 21-year-old Trey D wounded. Paramedics rushed him to the UF Health Jacksonville facility, but he didn't survive. According to reports, nearly 50 shell casings were recovered in the area and bullet holes were found in nearby windows. However, despite the size of the event, police said that detectives had very few leads. Online rumors would claim that an argument had broken out between the 6 Block and AVB side and 1200, leading to guns being raised and shots being fired. Just a few days after Trey D had been killed, Young and Ace released one of his first responses to Foolio with the track Demons, rapping that the recent shooting woke the demons up out of him and promising that it's smoke with everybody and that even mothers and sisters can be killed. He would also claim that there was a $30,000 bounty on his head, but it wouldn't be enough to take him out. In another clip, Ace rapped along to the song Come Get Me while making an 8 sign during a lyric about someone's main man dying after trying to sneak him, an apparent reference to Trey D, who also went by the nickname 8. Other members of 1200 like Lil Popper rapped on his 2020 track R.I.P. Can't lie, I'm Trey D high, can't let an N-word rest in piss. However, it would be CP3 who many believed was responsible. Later, CP3, the suspected shooter from 1200, would admit that if Foolio didn't fight Popper, then he wouldn't have killed Trey D. Years later, during an Instagram Q&A, 1200 rapper Whopper with the Chopper was asked who his favorite op pack was to smoke, and in response he would post Trey D's gravestone. Whopper said that he strongly disliked Trey D because at one point Trey D was cool, but after Bink, aka Suge, was killed in 2015, Whopper claimed that Trey D started dissing him and following behind other people, even though Suge hadn't actually been involved in that beef. He also said that he had told Trey D while he was alive that if he died he would smoke him every day. Trey D's death was clearly one of the biggest losses that Foolio had faced, and he would call Trey his twin in one of his many tribute posts to him, adding the hashtag 86forlife. While in another post he wrote a heartfelt message saying that Trey always had his back and looked after him like a big brother, standing by him through everything, no matter what they faced. From there, the question became why Ace's car had been targeted. One rumor said that the shooting was retaliation for Zion Brown, Foolio's cousin. However, the rumored motive grew more complicated after older posts circulated showing Foolio with 23's baby mother. At the same time, another rumor claimed that the shooting was actually connected to a robbery. According to that version, 23 and Quan had allegedly robbed a manager connected to a singer called Alexa Sophia. The manager was apparently known as Frosty, and he was robbed for $60K. Following that alleged robbery, the rumor claimed that Frosty actually dropped a bag on the thieves' heads. Months after the Ace shooting, Alexa Sophia and her manager were shot at only hours after Alexa appeared at a meet and greet at Orange Park Mall. On October 17th, 2018, Alexa Sophia would be sitting in a car with her manager at the Reserve at Mandarin Apartments on Sunbeam Road when gunshots rang out.
The search for a gunman. This local singer says she was targeted after someone shot at her and her manager. That manager tells News4Jax they're counting their blessings tonight.
At the end of the day, we still here, we still alive, so that's all that matters, you know, God watching out for us.
That singer we're talking about, Alexandra Cham, her stage name is Alexa Sophia.
I'll be getting the fuck out of there.
19-year-old and her manager were sitting in the car overnight when the gunshots rang out.
According to Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, a white SUV pulled up and opened fire on Alexa's car after an SUV had blocked them in right before, and 3 and 4 people started shooting. They would hit the manager in the side and struck the car more than 30 times.
R&B and hip-hop singer known as Alexa Sophia has been busy making music videos, photo shoots, and recording new music. But around midnight Wednesday, she and her manager were caught in the crossfire during a drive-by shooting at the Reserve at Mandarin Apartments. Do you feel like you were targeted?
Yeah, definitely. They were shooting to kill.
Sophia's manager wants to remain anonymous. He says he and Sophia were sitting in his car when they first heard gunshots.
That's when I looked and seen that the car pulled in front of me, T-boning me in, trying to block me in. And so it took a second to realize, okay, we getting shot at.
He says he saw 3 to 4 people in a white SUV firing shots at his car. Sophia's manager says a bullet struck him in his side and more than 30 bullets hit his car.
According to reports, the car stalled as they tried to escape, forcing both of them to jump out and run, while the manager grabbed his gun and took cover behind a bush and fired back before being taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
He says his car stalled as he tried to drive away.
That nigga got down. He like, fuck this.
We got to get out. So I tell Alexa that when the car stops, hop out and run. Don't look back. Just run as fast as you can.
Alexa's manager says he grabbed his gun and hid behind a bush.
As they're driving back past my car, they started to open fire again. So I opened fire on them as they were passing by. They continued to go, so I stopped firing. And I went and chased after Alexa to make sure she was all right, not hit.
But despite being the only person hit, the manager said that he believes they were targeted because of Alexa's recent success as an R&B and hip-hop singer.
The duo doesn't know who the shooters are, but they fear Sophia's success as an artist is the reason why they were targeted.
But sadly, these back-to-back murders and hits would continue as the Jacksonville gang wars raged on through the following years. And with each month that went by, more and more infamous names in the Jacksonville streets would unfortunately lose their lives and become just yet another name for the ops to jump in front of a mic and rap about.
Man, this shit is crazy, bro. Like, man. Like, fuck, man. You really see the history of this shit, man. That's why I watched this shit, because I wanted to see the history and, you know, man, what happened and why it happened and, you know, how this shit started. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, fuck, man. Like, shit, man. You know, like, this type of shit don't look like you can put a Band-Aid on it. You know, too much shit didn't happen. Too many people that got murdered. Man, the way they doing shit, like, man, and then Fulio gonna make a whole song. Like, man, whew. Hey, man, this is part 1, man. Part 2, we gonna, you know what I'm saying? We gonna work on part 2 tomorrow, man. You know what I'm saying? But, man, hey, it's the mob. I'm gonna catch y'all on part 2, bro.